Time to take a look at tonight's top stories, but instead of just telling you what they are and what my views on them are, I'm going to call on someone who I know has a very strong and sound opinion on most things. That's my good friend Gideon Roznan from the Institute of Public Affairs. Welcome, Gideon. There's 5 minutes, there's 5 topics, there's a lot to get through, so let's get straight into it. Start the clock. 12 million Australians, including yourself, are in lockdown again this morning. Gideon, Victoria has joined New South Wales for the next 5 days. Longer term, the PM says we need to be realistic. Well, how realistic is your lockdown for you, and what are your thoughts on this response?
Well, yes, Corey, as you can see, I'm coming at you live from house arrest here in Victoria for the 5th time, a record breaker. Look, Corey, we are in a worse position now than we were in March last year. At least last year we could take comfort in the fact that the rest of the world was in the same situation that we were. We're not anymore. We've taken a backward step. The rest of the world is opening up, and we are back in lockdown now. We've become completely fixated with case numbers, and as soon as Gladys Berejiklian caved in order to lockdown, all the other premiers have cemented the narrative that Gladys locked down too early. So we will be in and out of this forever at this rate. And don't say vaccines are the magic bullet. They may help, but Israel, the most successfully vaccinated country in the world, is about to enter a lockdown over the Jewish high holy days. So the vaccines are completely capable of stopping the spread of case numbers alone, which is the metric that we're judging this by. We need to be realistic, and we have to go back to trying to reduce deaths and actually trying to protect the vulnerable the best we can, and let the rest of the country get on with its life.
Gideon, it may be that premiers and too many of the public actually are enjoying lockdowns and days off from work, but that's its topic for another time.
Correct.
Question number 2 tonight. There's a new survey. It was commissioned by the Institute of Public Affairs, whom you work for. It reveals 60% of Australians want references to race removed from the Constitution, including the ones that are there now. And that's up from 45% in 2019. Gideon, this is a crushing blow for those who are pushing for an Indigenous voice to Parliament to be enshrined in our founding document. And it's destined to split the Liberal Party because the government's got carriage of this, doesn't it?
Well, it's going to split the Liberal Party because, unfortunately, there are people in the Liberal Party who think this is a good idea when it's not. Corey, another survey that the IPA has done recently indicates that 87% of Australians, and it should be a self-evident point, but 87% of Australians want all rights to be equal between people of different races. The fundamental point is, Corey, that Australians voted overwhelmingly in 1967 to pull racial discrimination out of the Constitution. 90% of the country voted for that referendum. They're not going to allow the government to write race back into the Constitution by establishing this so-called voice, which would effectively bestow certain civil and political rights on some Australians and not others based on their skin colour. This is poison for Middle Australia. This is the antithesis of the egalitarianism that Australia conducts itself with. And this is why we're hearing now about a legislated voice as a bridge to a voice in the Constitution via referendum, because politicians know that this idea is astoundingly unpopular. Yet for their own woke, trendy reasons, and to be popular in the salons of inner city Sydney and so on, they're going down this route and getting on this hobby horse of the cultural left. They have to give it a serious rethink.
Well, they should, because ATSIC was the last legislated voice to the Parliament, and that was the corrupt child that really did a lot of damage, actually.